for females, we're really comfortable in talking more so than I believe males. I mean, I'm not a male, so, but this is from when I work with my clients and talk to people from the conversations I've had, what I've gleaned from that is that they don't really talk about, they might have locker room talk about their conquest or whatever, but they're not going to be having locker room talk about their masturbation. They're not going to be talking, right? So,
Mm-mm.
and then the other thing too is they don't share these things, and they also don't share, like, give each other pointers of like what works really well. They come into it from a place of like they feel there's just males in our society to already like know this, and they should already be great lovers, and they shouldn't display any weakness or needing to know better. Like, oh no, I have that covered, right? And so that holds them back from opening up to new possibilities, exploring things in a different way, and they don't have these open conversations between one another.
Mm-mm.
So they go and they look, where are they going to look to learn things? Is by seeing things on porn. And porn is not an accurate representation of what females want.
Right.
So then they're learning things that aren't actually what's going to be, something that their partners are really going to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think on the subject of porn, we tend to watch the things that we like because we're trying to have an orgasm. So we're going to search for or click and whatever on the things we want to see. That's not necessarily what our partner wants to see or wants us to do to them. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. Just because one person or several people in these videos you're watching like things a certain way, we also have to remember these are actors and these are like staged performances. That doesn't mean that's what every person wants, or, you just have to really, it's like any movie, movies are not real.
Exactly. Well, I'm really good friends. I actually introduced her to her husband. I'm really good friends with a very famous porn star, and she's in the Hall of Fame, and she's been doing this for decades. And she would talk to me about her sex scenes, and she says, "Oh, it's cardio with penetration." That's how she viewed it.
That's so accurate.
So I was just like, the other funny thing is, like, when I would be in Hollywood and I would she was really hilarious. I would hang out with her, and then men would come up to her and when we'd be out or going to have dinner, and they would be trying to figure out where they knew her from, but they couldn't place it. So they were like, "Haven't I seen you somewhere before?" And when we would walk off, this is a little racy, but when we would walk away, she would say, "Put your dick in your hand, then you'll remember." It was so, gosh, right? So even when I introduced her to her husband, he had been a fan of hers for such a long time. He's actually a surgeon I worked with. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he was such a fan of hers for such a long time. And whenever they were first hang out and they really clicked, I said, "Hey, my first advice to you is whatever you do, do not be with her like what you see on those films. That is not going to be what she wants."
Right.
Whatever you do. And actually at that point, he stopped watching her films and everything. Later, he told me, he thanked me. He was like, it really took someone that had like all the physical attributes that I was like in my fantasy. But actually, this has taught me like what love is really about. Like, she's really shown me like they have a very beautiful relationship.
Aww.
And so thankful. He would see me at work and he'd be all like googly eyed, and he would look at me, and people didn't know I had introduced him this person. So at work, they're like, wow, when he came up to me in the cafeteria and sat and said hi to me one day, they were like, wow, I thought he was like going to kiss you for a minute. He just looked so enamored with you. And I'm just like, you don't know, but I introduced him to the love of his life.
Yeah.
In a beautiful relationship, and it's not anything. She was so thoughtful. She would make sweet gifts for him. It's like, you just wouldn't think, we stereotype what we think these people are like we see in films, and they're just doing a script.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. I love that. It's like we know the distinction if we're watching TV or a movie, we know it, but for whatever reason, so many people think porn is an accurate representation of what people want in real life. Sometimes it is. I would say probably most of the time it's not.